Australians are being promised relief at the petrol pump this morning. The Prime Minister announcing a decision to halve the fuel excise by 26 cents per litre.
So that means if you're paying $2.50 right now for unleaded, the price at the Bowser should drop to $2.24. But as Penny Wong told us earlier, the price change will take some time to filter through to your local service station. To discuss, explain and all that, NRMA spokesperson Peter Curry and farmer Charlie Blomfield. Good morning, guys. Nice to see you. Big Charlie especially. But Pete, you're first up. Can you explain that for us at home, what Penny was saying?
Yeah, so what she's saying about that is that service stations have already got fuel in their tank that they bought before the excise was cut, and they then have to sell that fuel before the new round of fuel comes in with the reduced excise, because it gets cut at the wholesale price. And we obviously, see the difference at the pump. But that's what she means. It depends on the service station and how quickly they sell their existing stock. Judging by what we've seen lately, it shouldn't take long.
When, though? I mean, it's not by the Easter weekend, obviously.
It really depends on the servo. In some instances, we'll see it pretty quickly. In others, it could take a week. And I remember back in 2022 when the previous government did similar, for some of those regional servos, it took a week, sometimes more, for them to get through that stock. So it really depends on how big the service station is, how much fuel they sell on any given day, and how quickly they can restock it.
All right, Charlie, you heard all the announcements yesterday. You've heard the government everywhere this morning. What does it actually mean for farmers like yourself?
Thanks, Carlos and Sarah. I think the National Fuel Security Plan that was released yesterday is nothing more than a communications plan dressed up as a fuel security and supply strategy. I feel like the agricultural industry has been let down. There's no prioritisation and allocation of fuel supply resources and distribution to the regional areas.
What about the heavy vehicle cut? Does that help as well?
It does. That is a material improvement, and it will have a benefit for all of our truckies on the roads to keep these things moving.
What are you paying for diesel out there, brother?
Too much. We got a bulk order recently that was pretty good compared to today's prices, but Bowser prices out here are well into the sort of mid $3 now, and we're being warned that they're going to keep on going. So the fuel excise cut will have a short-term sugar hit to metro users, but we don't pay fuel excise in the bush anyway. Regional users and primary producers, we get a fuel tax credit because of fuel being not used on roads. So it has no change for us whatsoever.
Oh, gee, that's not good to hear, is it? Well, I guess, Peter, even with this fuel excise being cut, I mean, the prices are just going to keep rising. We have no clue as to when this war is going to end. So if we were to look ahead, I mean, just how bad could it get?
Yeah, look, I got asked a couple of weeks ago, would it get to $4 a litre? And the answer to that was, look at what had to happen to get to $3 a litre. I don't even want to think about what $4 a litre would look like on the global stage, but we keep seeing prices going up. There is some small good news in that the wholesale price for unleaded has actually fallen a couple of days in a row. Now, whether that's sustained or not remains to be seen. Diesel prices, well, they've almost doubled since the war began, and well, we've just heard from Charlie what that means.
How is that explained if supply, as the government attests, has not been disrupted? I mean, it's got to be the oil companies, right? And they've got to be gouging in some way, or profiteering, which is the other word for it.
Yeah, so like we talked about on this program a few weeks ago, we saw that in the first few days of the war, when those prices in the biggest cities just skyrocketed well before the wholesale price did. If you look at the wholesale price today and compare it to the resale price, there's about a 3 or 4 cent difference. What is going to be absolutely critical here isn't just that the government needs to make sure the oil companies pass on the excise cut, but in that time, if the wholesale price falls, they also need to make sure that that gets cut at the Bowser as well. We don't want the excise being a substitute for actual falls in the oil prices. So that's going to be the focus of the ACCC now for the next 3 months, making sure that not just the excise is cut, but any falls are also added to those cut, and that's going to be a big job.
Charlie, when we spoke to you last week, you really outlined the impact that you're having, not just fuel, obviously, but fertiliser as well. Hope is so important when it comes to these matters, and especially for us, in the metro areas who are relying on the work that you do out there on the land. Do you have any hope at the moment?
We always have hope. We sort of rely on diesel, fertiliser and hope in farming, and we don't always have all three, which is the case at the moment. There's existing now 2 or 3 week delays on fuel, and I don't think that the plan released yesterday changes that for anybody in regional areas. Fertiliser is the other big thing that still remains without a strategy. We got a load of urea yesterday, so I feel like a bit like Scrooge McDuck that I have urea sitting in the shed at the moment. But our truckload was the second last truck to come out of Newcastle, and there won't be any more there until the end of May. And that's word straight from the truck drivers out of the port.
Here we go.
Oof. Yeah.
All right, Peter, thank you. And Charlie, thanks for being on the spot there with your pliers and koala on top of that.
Reporting live from the regions.
I love it. What a microphone.
Keep your sense of humour, brother. Keep your sense of humour. Don't we need that?
Yeah,
Good
good
on
to
you,
see you,
mate.
Charlie. Thanks, Peter.